assessment issue. There we go.
It's working now.
Welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. This is our study group for June 13th, 2024. This is our 124th study group, and we are so glad that you're here with us. Today, we're going to be studying the BABOK. This is our practice test question study group for Chapter 5, Knowledge Area 3, Requirements Analysis and Design Definition. My name is Thea Sorrent. I am the president of the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. I'm also the vice president of career and professional development. That means it's my job to help you. If you need user stories, use cases reviewed, if you want your resume reviewed, if you need to be connected to somebody, between those of us here in the chapter, we've got a little over 100,000 connections on LinkedIn. I bet you we can get you to who you need to be. If you want to reach me, contact me through LinkedIn. It's the fastest way to get to me. We are a volunteer-led organization. We have our Vice President of Membership and Marketing, Cliff Gray. Our Vice President of Finance is Yulia. And then our board members at large, Uche, Vivian, Esther, and Alicia. They are instrumental in bringing these to you. And we really appreciate the time and effort that they put into this organization. We are a worldwide organization. Not only does the IIBA cover the entire world, but here in Tampa Bay, Florida, we have members from all over the world as well. One reason for that may be that we put out great product. Another reason may be that we don't charge any money because our job is to give you training and development and camaraderie that you don't get anywhere else. If you do not have an IIBA chapter home, you're welcome to join our family. It doesn't matter where you live. You can be a member of the Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. We've given you various ways to reach us. This is our Thursday evening study group from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. We also have our LinkedIn, Meetup, and IIBA websites. The Zoom online site is the same address every single week, so you can use this in your history. We have study group materials on our Google Drive, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment. We also have meetings recorded, over 100 hours of meetings recorded on YouTube for your enjoyment. We typically focus on these three certifications, the ECBA, the CCBA, and the CBAP. These are the certifications that you get from studying the Business Analysis Book of Knowledge, or the BABOK. There are also 4 other certifications. I'd be happy to explain any of these to you if you want to reach out to me. We want to get you the certifications that are most impactful for you. We have a list of board members here, I'm saying it backwards. We have a board of people that we are so appreciative. They've reached out to us to say that we helped them earn their certification. These last 2 are the ones we've recently received. Yulia and Esther went on to join our board, and we are really appreciative of that. We also have advisors. Yulia and Esther are advisors. Uche and Bob are also our advisors. They have earned their CBAP certification, their Certified Business Analyst Professional certification, and they have agreed to attempt to be at all of these meetings. That means that you, as a participant in this meeting, get an hour of education credit. You need that education credit whenever you apply for your certification, so we track your attendance. If you're joining us and we can't see your full name, please put it in the chat so we know who you are so we can record that you're attending with us today. Watermark Learning is our sponsor for this. They've given us a discount code on their products. They've got business analysis, product management, project management, and a few other things. Flashcards, classes, practice test questions. If you use the discount code TAMPA21, you get 20% off of any of their products. Okay, so we are going to go to a few other things real quick. You don't need that anymore. If you are new to the IIBA and have not yet joined, and you're interested in seeing what the benefits are, the Knowledge Hub is where we have our information. They have over 11,000 books in there ready for you to check out. They have magazines, articles, all kinds of stuff. And right now, without being a member, you can go right here and get access to the Knowledge Hub for 7 days without paying the membership fee. So I encourage you to consider that. Also, if you are a member, you can get 50% off your certification application this month only, which means you need to get on getting your application completed on the Excel spreadsheet. I'll give you a link to that in just a minute. Then it's easy to just drop that information into the certification application on the IIBA website. Two things you need to know is whenever you start that application, you have 7 days to finish it on the website. So it's really beneficial to fill it out on your Excel. The second thing is, as soon as you submit your application, they're going to send confirmations to your two people that you've identified as references. So they need to be pre-prepared that they have been asked to confirm that you have the experience that you're submitting on your application. Okay. rpchurchill.com has an index right here. He's been kind enough to not only give us awesome things on his blog, huge amounts of information, but if you go to the Tampa IIBA study group, you get access to all of this stuff. The Google Drive is our resource files. The application template is there. Then you also have YouTube access right here. If you scroll down here all the way to the bottom, near the bottom, Bob has put in so much work. Here is the links by BABOK knowledge areas. So these are the practice test questions for Chapter 3. These are the practice test questions for Chapter 4. Each one of these is an hour. You got at least 4 hours of practice test questions that you can go through and just practice along with us. Strategy analysis, we have a few more, and solution evaluation, we have a few more because they're a little harder. Also, you've got the different techniques. We've done presentations on these techniques at least twice. And then here is the blog post that Bob has put together for the technique. Okay, this is the YouTube channel that Bob's site references. You can click on Bob's links and it will take you exactly to the place in the recording that you can get the information. And this right here is what we've been working on for up to now for the previous knowledge areas. We're going to go on to the current knowledge area, which is knowledge area 3 in just a moment. This is the Google Drive. I want to bring to your attention two things. These are the techniques that are mapped to the different tasks. So you can see in strategy analysis, here are all of the tasks in strategy analysis, then to the technique. And if you scroll down to the bottom, let's see, let me make that all the way, you can go the other way. Here is the technique mapped to the task. So I tried to do it both ways. Then if you go to this document, let me pull it back down. This is task with criteria. This is what I showed you last week. The task name, the purpose, input, elements, etc. I started identifying interviews in each of these because interviews is in almost everything, and the needs in each of these. Push it back up. Stakeholder list, it's really interesting, and it helps me remember if I look at which ones of these have which stakeholders. So you can easily see there's only a few of these that have all stakeholders, but do you know which ones they are? Some have any stakeholders and then everything else. Customer and end user is the same for every single one. And of course, business analyst is a stakeholder in every single business analyst task. Right down here, I went in and identified what the different roles are and what their responsibilities are, because we've seen too many questions that say, who is it that is responsible for day-to-day management and maintenance of the system or product? If I didn't know this, I wouldn't know which one the BABOK was expecting. And then core concepts across the chapters. Guys, I'll tell you the truth. Whenever I look at the BABOK and I look at core concepts chapter by chapter, I don't get this. But this is continuity across all of the knowledge areas to see what the needs are, what the solutions are. It helped me understand what they were trying to do whenever they created this. So I'll put this all in here. It's accessible to you on the Google Drive. Let us switch over to what we came here for, though. Online study for the CBAP and CBA and the ECBA. We are going to choose CBAP, log in. We are going to do a drill for the, oh my goodness, guys, I just blanked out. Which one is it?
Requirements.
Requirements.
No,
there it is.
The other one.
The life cycle management?
Yeah.
Okay, let me unclick that one. Okay. Okay, so if you haven't joined us in the past, let me tell you what we're doing. I'm going to read the question. I'm going to read all four answers. It's a lot of reading, but follow along with me. If you're an auditory learner, you're going to be able to follow better. Then I want you to tell me if there's one of these that could not be the answer and why. And then I want you to tell me which one you think is the answer and why. The why is the conversation. We learn from each other by that conversation. So please come off of mute. If you can, come on to camera so people can see you because we can have face-to-face conversations and we will see what we can do. We've got a little less than an hour to go through 25 questions. Let's see if we can get a great score. The first question, you were asked to trace a particular requirement by a business stakeholder. What is the stakeholder asking you to do? So it's trace the requirement. It means to retain requirements accuracy and consistency throughout and beyond the change during the entire requirements lifecycle and to support reuse of the requirements in other solutions. Or it means to have a clearly defined relationship from one requirement to other requirements and other components such that coverage and effects of change are clearly identifiable. Or it means to track requirements from its identification all the way to its completion to see what risks, issues, risk, cost, quality, and defects are related to that requirement, or it means to document and maintain the requirement in accordance with the methods identified by the business analysis approach. Can we eliminate any of those?
I would eliminate D for sure.
Why did we eliminate B?
No, D as in dog.
D? Okay. Why did we eliminate D?
Because the trace requirements is like so much more than that. That's what I
Okay.
think.
That's good logic. I like it. So if we eliminate, you think A is the right answer?
No. I mean, I would eliminate it. I think B is the right answer.
Why would we eliminate A?
Because accuracy and consistency, it's more about like verification task than tracing.
Okay. So you think B is a correct answer?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Olga. Do I have a second vote?
I agree.
I second that motion.
I agree.
Okay, we have votes for B. Let's see what the answer is, and that is correct. This is the definition of tracing a requirement. Very good, guys. It is so good to see y'all on camera. I appreciate it. Which of the following?
Let me point something out before you go on. And that is that there are two different ways to trace requirements. One is within the hierarchical, logical arrangement of components and concepts in your project or effort, right? And that's what this is talking about. And one is through the life cycle of your engagement. So from defining the problem, finding out what's going on, requirements, design, implementation, and test, you want to trace requirements cross-linked across all the spaces. So you can think of it this way. All the items cross-linked across every phase kind of horizontally, and then like a tree structure with all the logical relationships vertically, right? Think of a pyramidal type tree reaching down, and they should all match in the requirement space.
Okay, two things. Bob, are both of those in the BABOK or just this one?
They are not.
Okay, only this one is in the BABOK.
Only talks about relating them logically to each other in the context of the whole, but it will help you as a BA in general to understand both. Remember, I'm always about being a great analyst, and if you pass the test, that's great. That's not my main mission.
Okay. Hey, Bob, you have a diagram of traceability across the phases in your blog. If you want to grab that, I'll show it later.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Okay, which of the following is not a consideration of the prioritized requirements task? So we're talking about a task, one of the tasks in this chapter. Benefits of prioritization, continual prioritization, basis for prioritization, or challenges of prioritization. Which one of these is not a consideration?
Honestly, I don't even understand any of those answers, so they seem all related.
Okay, so which one of these words is not in the BABOK?
Like basis or challenges? Base.
Okay.
I think it should be basis too, because challenges, it's something that is good to consider.
Okay.
Where the basis of the prioritization, what does it really mean?
I agree. Okay, well, we've got 2 votes for this. Let's check it. Okay.
Oh.
So factors that can be used as a basis for prioritization includes benefit, penalty, cost, risk dependency, time sensitivity, stability, regulatory, or policy compliance. Okay. And so benefits of prioritization is technically correct, but falls under basis of prioritization instead of being its own element. This seems kind of wonky, doesn't it, Bob?
I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention.
It's okay. I'm going to click this. Does anyone else think that this one's a little bit wonky?
I agree. This one's tricky.
Okay. So
it's one of those tricky ones. You would guess either A or B, or I'm sorry, A or C. You know, that would be good guesses. I mean, B and D, they talk about quite a bit. Continual prioritization, they talk about that a bunch in the BABOK. And challenges of prioritization, they talk about that a lot. They talk about the cost, etc., but they don't necessarily call it out as basis, as I remember. So, you know, I get it once they spell it out, but basis can mean a lot of things. So
right, I agree with you.
Makes it confusing.
So what I'm doing with that screenshot is I'm sending it back to Watermark. I know that one of the head people now, and they said that they would pay attention to it and maybe make it better. So let's keep making it better, guys.
I think like I actually looking at the BABOK and it's inside the elements. It is wonky, but inside the elements are pretty clear. They're basis, challenges, and continual prioritization. And it's benefit is inside basis. So if you follow in the BABOK as it is what the BABOK really says, but it is wonky conceptually.
I think that this is, yeah, I think it's just wonky. Okay, to effectively manage requirements through all phases of a change initiative, the business analyst will complete which of these tasks? Define the business need, define goals and objectives, validate requirements, define change strategy and scope the solution space, trace requirements, maintain requirements for reuse, define requirements architecture, assess requirements change, and approve requirements, trace requirements, maintain requirements for reuse, prioritize requirements, assess risk, and approve requirements, and trace requirements, maintain requirements for reuse, prioritize requirements, assess requirements change, and approve requirements. Are any of those things we can eliminate?
I think that the define business need.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can eliminate that one because your effectively management of requirements doesn't mean that you're defining, you're already past that stage of defining the business needs.
Okay, what number was that? I'm sorry.
A, so you could eliminate A, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so we think we can eliminate A. So which one do we think it is?
The last one, D.
You like D? Why do you like D?
Because it includes all the tasks in the the knowledge area, requirements, lifecycle management, right?
Okay. So this one does
Agreed.
have the prioritized requirements, like that one does, but this doesn't have it. Okay, let's check this and see what we get. And you are correct. These are the tasks for that. I mean, these are the elements for that task. Very good. The guideline provides instructions or descriptions on why or how to undertake a task, while a tool is something used to undertake a task. Which of the following is not listed at guideline or tool in the requirements lifecycle management? So here's our task, guidelines and tools for that task, information management approach, domain knowledge, requirements architecture, or business analyst approach.
Domain knowledge, my guess is.
I agree. Domain knowledge. It's the
Yeah, I
only
agree.
that does not fit. It's important for a business analyst, maybe, but not for this.
Domain knowledge is
right.
one that's listed. But business analyst approach is not one of the guidelines or tools listed for RLCM, making it the correct answer. So business analyst approach would be the output of the business approach task. And it would be, so it would be an input here, right? If it were actually to be used, but it is not. It's not guideline or tool or input. Maybe I said that backwards. Okay, let's move on. Cindy was working on requirements, dependencies, and prioritization. Requirement 5.1.2 was dependent on requirement 5.1. Requirement 5.1 was dependent on requirement 3.0. Requirement 3.0 was given a priority of medium, and the requirement 5.1 was given a priority of low. The new requirement 7.0 was added and was determined that requirement 5.0 was actually dependent on 7.0. Requirement 7.0 was given a priority of high, and the priority of 5.1 was changed to medium. What was the deciding factor to change the priority of requirement 5.1? Was it because it's a subset, an effort, a necessity, or a value? So here's where it changed.
I would say C of necessity, but just by logic. I don't know what the BABOK says.
Okay, good. That's good logic. Do I have another vote?
I agree with necessity, C.
Okay, let's see what the answer is. Oh, it's value.
Oh my gosh, terrible.
The inclusion of the requirement 7.0 made 5.1 more desirable and therefore of a higher priority. So wait a minute, 5.0. I'm sorry, 5.1. 5.1 was given a priority of low, but because it was connected to 7.0 that was given a high, it pulled it up to a medium.
So it's saying that the value is more important than the necessity. That's what they're saying in the answer.
Yeah,
that because
so the
value
values are the high,
increase.
medium, and low. That's the values, and so that's how it's pulled up.
It's essentially a goofy question because they're all words that say the same thing.
Okay, we'll snip it. Let me snip it faster. Here we go. Incidentally, I'm saving these snips with the word wonky. Okay, this is wonky 5.
What's wrong with goofy?
Well, I like goofy too, but I've used goofy for everything else so far. So now we're on to wonky. Carrie is a business analyst in her organization and has several lines of business. The country is implementing a new solution, one line of business at a time. Carrie is ensuring requirements remain accurate and consistent throughout the change so they are relevant to future endeavors. What task is Carrie executing? Is it the task of maintain requirements, reuse requirements, trace requirements, or assess requirements changes? Are all those tasks in chapter 5?
Well,
Maintain
these requirements is not a task for sure.
I'm sorry, which one?
So I think that the answer is A, and B we can eliminate because it's not a task.
Okay. Do you have a second vote?
I second.
Okay, I got votes. Very good. And that is correct. The purpose of maintain requirements is to retain requirement accuracy and consistency throughout and beyond the change during the entire requirements lifecycle and to support reuse of requirements and other solutions. Very good. I love your logic. When prioritizing requirements, different stakeholders focus on different areas of the prepared requirements package. What does the implementation SME focus on? Use the prioritization as input into the project plan and into the allocation of requirements to release. Verifies the prioritization requirements will deliver value from a customer or end user perspective. The customer can also negotiate to have the prioritization changed based on the relative value. Determines the technical dependencies of the project. They may also negotiate to have the requirement prioritization based upon technical constraints, or the implementation SME focuses on verifying that their prioritization is consistent with legal and regulatory constraints.
So this is C.
Why do you like C?
Yeah.
Because it's implementation subject matter expert. It's his primary focus of the solution, to implement the solution. So he would be looking for technical dependencies and technical constraints, all that stuff.
Very good. Do I have a second vote?
Yeah, I think C.
Okay, perfect. So we know this one is regulatory.
Yeah.
This one is the release.
This is for project manager. I get the A is for project manager.
Okay. And who is this one? Let's ask. This is the customer. So we were correct here. Very good. Okay, after prioritizing some requirements, Amanda provides the stakeholder with a list of those prioritized requirements. This stakeholder verifies that all prioritized requirements will provide value from an organizational stake perspective. Who is the stakeholder? Is it the implementation subject matter expert, the end user, the customer, or the sponsor?
B, sponsor.
The sponsor, yeah.
Okay. And that is correct. They verify the prioritized requirements from the organizational perspective of value. Guys, if you didn't read that list of who the different stakeholders are and what their responsibilities are, you wouldn't have gotten this. So you're reading. Good job. Neil is a business analyst for his organization, and he's working with his stakeholders to maintain the requirements for an initiative. Which stakeholder will reference maintained requirements the most to ensure they are accurately reflecting the stated needs? Is it going to be the project manager, implementation subject matter expert, the tester, or the domain subject matter expert?
E as a dog.
You think it's this one?
Tester, I guess. Because, I mean, he is the one who is responsible for quality. I mean,
okay.
But his testing, yeah, verifies the implemented functionality.
Okay. Do I have a second vote?
I vote for C. I think the
okay,
tester.
We got 2 for C. Let's go.
No.
Darn it.
Well, let's see. It says the maintained requirements are used by the tester to aid in creating the test plan and test cases. Once the initiative is over, they are not likely to reference and maintain requirements any longer.
Oh, that's
Domain
correct.
subject matter expert references the maintaining requirements on a regular basis to ensure they're accurately reflecting stated needs. So they're going to reference it even after the project's over. But you know what? I was going for tester too, because the tester is the one that tests to be sure that they meet it. But it says reference it the most, which should have gotten my clue.
I would have actually said the BA or the PM, because they're going to have the organizational knowledge flowing through from previous efforts from which the requirement is being reused.
But why reuse is a concern of project manager. When project is over, then project manager is kind of, I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't.
And then the domain subject matter expert continues for perhaps years with that.
Yeah.
Makes good sense. Okay. Matt is the lead BA on the project team and will standardize a contentious business process and automate it. Currently, he is ensuring that the stakeholders with approval authority understand and accept the requirements. What is Matt doing? So this is the statement. Is he gaining consensus, tracking and communicating approvals, understanding the stakeholder roles, or managing the conflict? What does the BABOK say he's doing?
I don't know what the BABOK said, but I would say B as boy, tracking and communicating approvals.
Yes,
Okay.
B seems
Okay.
to be.
We got 2 votes for B. Let's see what the answer is.
No.
Gaining consensus is described as business analysts are responsible for ensuring the stakeholders with approval authority understand and accept the requirements. So this is our definition. This part is after the requirements are accepted. So that's after approval. He's trying to get them there. You have been hired as a business analyst for an initiative. You have completed requirement solicitation and documentation. You now want information to help you understand the needs of all stakeholders to assist in managing consensus. Which of the following tools will be helpful? Is it the tool of conflict and consensus management, legal and regulatory information, the requirements management tools and repository, or the tool of change strategy?
The change strategy.
Why do you like change strategy?
Because it describes that transition from, to future state, and it kind of describes the value of this transition, as far as I remember. So, and when you're trying to get a consensus among stakeholders, sometimes you need to remind them about the value we are trying to achieve.
Okay.
I'm not sure, actually. I'm just expressing my thoughts.
I like your logic. Let's see if we can get a second vote.
Well, I think that B and C can't be, and I think that A could be, because what it's saying is to help understand the needs of all stakeholders to assist in managing consensus. It could potentially, because of the wording of that, it could also be conflict and consensus management. But I think that change strategy is more a tool that I don't know if conflict and consensus management is actually a tool.
Is tool, right? It's like, it's not all those things listed. They are not technically, they are not tools, but
well, for time's sake, let's pick one and check it.
Yep, change strategy.
Okay, let's check change strategy, and it is correct. This tool provides information that would assist the business analyst in managing stakeholder consensus. All right. Which type of relationship between the requirements describes when it only makes sense to implement a particular requirement if a related requirement is also implemented? Is it necessity, validate, effort, or satisfy?
I would say A, necessity.
I think it's A as well.
All right, let's check it. And we are correct. This relationship exists only when it makes sense to implement a particular requirement if a related requirement is also implemented. Good job. What is performed to assess or evaluate the effect of a change? Is it traceability, baselining, managing requirements approval, or impact analysis?
Impact analysis. Accessibility the effect.
Okay. Do I have a second vote? Okay. Yep. And we are correct. Good job. Which of the following is not a consideration in the trace requirements task? So this is not something that trace requirements does. Depends, traceability, repository, relationships, or a level of formality.
I think is A. Depends.
Why do you like A, Van?
Because I remember seeing all of the other ones in the BABOK, but I don't remember seeing A in relation to this.
Okay. Do I have a second vote? I'm sorry, say it again.
I would vote for level of formality, because regardless of the level of formality, you still need to trace. I mean, this is just my logic.
Okay, so it's not a consideration in the trace requirements task? You're saying level of formality is not?
Not a consideration.
Yeah,
it's not.
Would actually place it in the hierarchy someplace.
Okay. Well, let's check this answer and see what we get. Okay, depends is the type of relationship versus an element of tracing requirements. Level of formality, effort to trace requirements grows significantly when the number of requirements or level of formality increases.
But they are asking not a consideration, right?
Yes, not a consideration.
That may be what the BABOK says indirectly, but I don't like the question.
I don't like the question either. We're checking it. We're identifying it as wonky. If my little program will come up, there it comes. Okay,
depends,
this is
also
wonky.
inside relationships. So level of formality, relationships, and traceability repository are the elements and I identify in BABOK, but depends is inside relationship. So it's just been a tricky one.
It is a tricky one.
Yeah, so I think it should be a consideration, right?
Bob has told us several times, and several of the other people that have passed their CBAP have said that these questions are really harder than what they find on the tests. So if we can make it through these questions, we're going to be fine on the test, okay? I know some of them are wonky, but they're still harder.
The following questions on the actual exam were more fair. They're not easy, but they're more fair and more consistent.
Okay, thank you.
Fair sounds good.
Okay, the following statements are true about obtaining agreement and approval of requirements and designs for business analysis work to continue and or solution construction to proceed. Which one is not true? Approval may confirm that stakeholders believe that sufficient value will be created for the organization to justify investment in a solution. Business analysts are responsible for ensuring that the stakeholders with approval authority understand and accept the requirements. Business analysts obtain approval by reviewing the requirements or change to requirements with the accountable individuals or groups and requesting that they indicate their approval with the solution or design described, or complete agreement is necessary for successful change, but if there's lack of agreement, the associated risks are to be identified and managed accordingly. Which one of these is not true?
I think
A?
it is. I was going to vote for B, but what is your logic for A?
Tell me the logic.
So approval may confirm that stakeholders believe that sufficient value will be created from the organization to justify the investment in the solution. Sometimes I don't think that it says may. Okay, because I was gonna say the approval doesn't really confirm that it will have significant, like that the stakeholders believe that there's sufficient value. Sometimes they just have to do it because there's a requirement, a functional requirement, but it does say may, so it could be okay.
Okay.
What's the reason for B, Ben?
I'm thinking that the business analyst is not responsible to get anybody to accept the requirements. The business analyst is to explain the requirements, but he's not responsible for getting anyone to accept them. So I think it's kind of a tricky question. That word accept, I think, is not true. I don't think the business analyst is responsible to have the requirements be accepted.
Okay.
Yeah, they need to be approved, not accepted.
Yeah, I would vote for B as well.
Okay, let's check the answer then. Ooh.
Darn it.
That's
Complete
true.
agreement is necessary for a successful change, but if there's a lack of agreement, complete agreement may not be necessary for a successful change. How is that not true? It says the same thing.
I would vote for this if there was just the sentence till but. So if we eliminate everything after but, then I would agree with that. But they just this is just misleading. The second part is misleading.
This is wonky.
Okay, another wonky. I'm flipping it.
But
yes?
The first part is really the critical part. So complete agreement is not necessary. Because if there is disagreement, somebody will break the tie. And the other people who disagree might say, okay, but here are the risks. And everybody will proceed from there. But it's great to have the greatest possible consensus, but somebody will break ties.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to have somebody set up to break ties, right?
Yeah.
It's disappointing that we've had so many wonky ones, guys, but let's keep going. Because I'm learning from their conversations. Greg is working on getting his requirements approved. Which stakeholder is responsible for ensuring that the requirements will meet the quality assurance standards? Is it the project manager, the operational support, the tester, or the regulator?
Regulator.
Why do you like regulator?
Assurance is usually a regulation.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I think it's
now you made me doubt.
You doubt. I need another vote.
See,
Uche says tester.
First instinct, but I think tester.
I think as well, yes, tester.
Well, let's check this answer then. The tester is responsible for ensuring the quality assurance standards are met. The only reason, Andrea, that I was thinking tester is because we call our testers QAs here.
Yeah.
It's quality assurance. And so I'm like, of course that's a tester. But I can understand why you'd think regulator, because they have these standards that you've got to meet their standards, right?
There are so many different kinds of testing.
Yeah, a regulator could be a tester.
Not sufficiently clear. However, the BABOK does define that role.
Yes. Okay, which of the following roles would be most interested in the maintained requirements and why? So other business analysts, because future projects may utilize and extend any maintained requirements. Project managers who will be able to complete projects faster if maintained requirements are properly maintained. Implementation SMEs because they will use them to develop regression tests and conduct impact analyses. or sponsors because future projects would be less expensive if requirements could be reused?
Sponsors.
You have a second vote?
I think sponsors as well, because they're the ones that stick around after the project's done.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's check it. Oh, the BABOK
Darn
says
it.
this is something to do with the implementation SMEs would do. So they would be most interested in this. They work with them more hands-on.
But this is true. Yeah, okay.
What types of requirements relationship exists when a requirement is easier to implement if a related requirement is also implemented? Is that a depends, an effort, a necessity, or a derive?
Derive.
Second
Easier
vote?
to implement.
I want to say effort.
I think derive is good because it says it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it could be
so it
effort
doesn't
too.
depend on it either.
No,
if
it
it's
doesn't
easier.
depend. It's not a necessity. It could be effort or derive. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's check it and see what we get. Ooh, I wouldn't have thought effort. This is a subset of the depends relationship and describes the relationship in the question. So it's easier to implement if another one is implemented. Derive is a relationship between two requirements used when the requirement is derived from another requirement.
So
Okay.
I remember this is on page 81. I remember this coming up like 3 times on my exam. Understanding these seems important.
Okay.
There were a few concepts that came up several times, like predictive versus reactive was one, and this was another. So that's section 5142. That's key.
Bob, how long ago did you take your test?
7 years ago.
And he still remembers the questions on it, guys. Brilliant.
Is it an adaptive test? Not to get off subject, but
No.
So if you get one wrong, it doesn't drill down on that same thing.
No,
I don't think so.
You're not training. They hit a certain amount across all the subject matter areas mixed up.
Okay.
So
Right.
I'm just saying with the Microsoft test, it's very adaptive. So if you know you start getting multiple questions on the same thing, that you're sometimes going down the wrong road, because if it finds that if you get it wrong, it will keep drilling you about the same damn thing. And if you get 4 or 5 questions in a row all on the same thing, it's like, oh crap, I'm stuck in a loop. I was just curious. That's all.
Really interesting observation, and the test may do that. If it does, I was not aware of it, but I also passed it.
Okay. Which of the following stakeholders are typically involved in the reviewing and improving requirements? Is it the domain SME sponsor and project manager, domain SME customer and sponsor, domain SME end user and sponsor, or domain SME implementation SME and tester?
I would say C. Oh no, sorry. A.
I was gonna say A. Yeah.
Okay, I got 2 A's. Let's go. Ooh. It says this is picky, but your real exam may be picky as well. The BABOK mentions project managers review solution scope and any changes to it, but there's no mention of any other involvement by the PM in reviewing and approving requirements, which is what the question is asking. Domain SME, customer, and sponsor are all involved in the review and approval of requirements. Okay.
Did somebody come with this answer?
Well,
I was
in the
actually
world,
thinking it, but didn't say it. So
you want me
I
to
was
identify
trying
this
to
one as
look
wonky?
it up.
Actually, I kind of agree with the answer, to be honest.
Okay. Are you looking it up, Bob?
I'm
5.5.7?
trying. Yeah. Well, it lists a whole pile of stakeholders, not just those three. So you'd have to read the longer description of like 8 different stakeholders.
Well, and it
Okay.
goes back to the other question we just did, a project manager in approving requirements. Those didn't match, if you remember right. Was it 3 or 4 questions ago?
Right.
Yeah, the project manager doesn't have anything about requirements, and the customer definitely has a role in reviewing and approving the requirements to assure that the design needs are met. So
the customer is almost always involved. The domain SME is in every answer, so you can wash that out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good to know. Prioritization is a critical exercise that seeks to ensure the maximum value is achieved from a change. As a business analyst, you might engage the following stakeholders to verify the prioritized requirements will deliver value from a customer or end user perspective. Which stakeholder are you least likely to engage? Would it be the sponsor, the end user, the implementation subject matter expert, or the customer? Verify they'll deliver value from the customer and end user perspective.
I would say this is either sponsor or implementation SME, but
Okay.
I'm not sure which one.
Okay, so you're saying A or C.
I would vote for C.
Why do you like C, Ben?
Because the implementation person, they're just the person that's putting it in. They're not trying to get value out of it. They're the expert at implementing it. So all these other people are more interested in the value.
And didn't we see earlier that the sponsors is interested in the end user getting value? Let's check this answer. And we are correct. Well, Van is correct. Implementation subject matter experts provide input relating to a technical perspective and can negotiate to have the prioritization changed based on technical constraints. Has nothing to do with value at a customer end user perspective. Okay, very good. We have 5 more to go. In 6 minutes, we're doing good. As the business analyst activity advances during an initiative, major budgetary constraints suddenly arise. The sponsor asks the team to focus their efforts only on the most critical requirements. What should the business analyst do? Should they validate requirements, organize requirements, prioritize requirements, or verify requirements?
Oh, C. You got to prioritize that.
Because it's what we should do, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what the answer is. And that is rank requirements in the order to relative importance, which is the most critical requirements. Very good. A requirement must be blank to ensure that it remains valid over time. It must be assessed, approved, traced, or maintained. What does the BABOK say?
Over time points to maintained.
I would think maintained, but I don't know.
I think either maintained. Yeah.
It is maintained. Good job. Okay. Adam is the lead business analyst in a data strategy initiative. The stakeholders on this initiative are having a difficult time coming to a consensus for one of the requirements, and hence there's a high probability that the requirement will change. Adam decides to give it a lower priority in order to minimize unanticipated rework and wasted effort. What ranking factor is Adam employing? So he's giving it a lower priority. Is it continual prioritization, regulatory requirements, risk, or stability?
I would say stability.
I've got a D in the chat, and I will check the answer. This factor in the prioritization process has to do with stability in the requirements. It is deemed unstable. It'll be given a lower priority. Who is Jay in the chat?
Jennifer, that's me.
Jennifer Parker.
There you are. Okay, I just could see Jay. It's like, I don't know who Jay is. Thank you, Jennifer.
Welcome.
Mary has just completed a review workshop with the accountable individuals, and they have approved the requirements and design. What is her next logical step? Close all defect tickets associated with this requirement, start refining the backlog, implementation, or track and communicate the approvals. What does the BABOK say?
D. D for dog.
D for
Agreed.
dog. Okay. Okay, I got an agreement. And that is correct. They record the approval decisions in order to communicate the status of requirements as necessary to keep accurate records of current approval statuses. Last one, which of the following stakeholders participate in the prioritization of requirements? Is it the customer, implementation subject matter expert, sponsor, and project manager, the customer, end user, tester, and project manager, the quality assurance subject matter expert, implementation subject matter expert, and project manager, and domain subject matter expert, implementation subject matter expert, and project team? Hey guys, is this even a role?
It's not.
Yeah.
I think we can eliminate that answer as a possible answer because that's not one of our roles.
Yeah, and you know, based on the previous questions, just from that, anyone without the project manager in it would be the one I would pick.
Yeah, that's true.
But
And you need to
the
have
three have
customer.
all of them have project manager in it.
yeah.
No, they
It's the
don't.
last one.
D.
D.
But it says the project team.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
project team contains everybody who works, right?
But didn't
Yeah.
the customer, doesn't the customer also
Stakeholders. Ooh, I don't know. But it's the
prioritize
project.
the customer customer prioritize
Mhm.
requirements? So
They verify their prioritized requirements.
oh,
Well, that means
Right.
it's one of
It doesn't.
these.
I vote for D.
You like D? Okay, let's check it. Ooh,
No.
the domain SME and the project team is not involved in prioritization. So this is the subset of the stakeholders involved in the requirements prioritization. So it's more than this: customer, implementation, subject matter expert, sponsor, and project manager. Okay, we're going to submit the exam and view the results. Ooh, 56. So we have two choices here. We can repeat this next week and do the same chapters, same knowledge area, and try to get better scores, or we can go on to the following one. But you get to make the decision, because if we did this well this time, there's no reason for me to think that you're going to study this chapter and the next chapter in a week, because there's a lot to do, right? Do you want to repeat this one, or do you want to go into the next chapter?
I would repeat.
I will repeat. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So next week we're going to do chapter 5, same knowledge area. We're going to do better.
Just so you know,
Which-
these diagrams are very helpful. I find over the last couple of weeks when I'm flipping through the pages that knowing these diagrams, the order they show up in and what feeds into them and out of them and what's in each chapter is really helpful. And
I'll tell you that
was the impression I had when I took the exam, is knowing those flow charts.
I adore those diagrams, but not at the chapter level, but at the individual task level. The CBAP study guide Ellen Mishra. Okay.
Yeah, Adaptive used to give you this book if you signed up for their otherwise expensive as training course. It really concentrated on those flow charts. So the flow charts are super helpful.
Okay.
Could you please put it in the chat, the name of the book?
They aren't really available anymore.
Oh, okay. But I bet you if we had the name and the author, we could probably find them on books or something. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? We know what we're going to do next week.
I have only one. So which level of percentage would be acceptable?
Which level of
percent? The
result.
To pass.
I mean,
I think we've said 75
I
or
can tell you the
above.
answer to that. That is something that they adjust, and they basically say the top third can pass. So if everybody's doing a horrible job, the top third is going to have a lower score that they can pass. We typically say about 70, you're probably going to pass.
So if we reach today,
okay. I took the data exam and did not get a very good score, but I was one of the first people to take it. I think I was only the 117th person to earn that cert, and I know my score was not high. So you can never tell.
Cynthia, you have a question?
I recall a couple of weeks ago that it was mentioned that the IIBA offers a certification for product management. Is there a particular book for that, or is that?
Yes, there is. Just go to the website. You can find the book.
Okay. Is it digital or is it like a hard copy?
I think it's digital. I'm not sure that it's not a hard copy because I actually saw photographs of all the books the other day. I'll be glad to look for you if you have trouble finding it.
Well, if it's on the website, it's digital by definition.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's physical. I'll look around for you. And you said that was the data management?
No, I think it's product management. It's like a new certification. It was mentioned like 2 weeks ago. They have a new certification now.
I would from if it's the IIBA or from PMI.
No, it's on the IIBA website. The certification. I'm on their website right now. Yeah, product ownership analysis certification.
Oh, that's been around for a while.
This one?
That's
the
not
CPOA?
Yeah.
And that's the same. They have a manual for that. They had one for the data one, CBDA, and they only had a digital copy.
I would be very surprised if they put out a physical copy of any of these because they're trying to get away from physical copies. In fact, during a recent the general meeting, they said that in the rewrite of the BABOK, they're probably not going to put out a physical copy, and they're going to do it in smaller increments so that they can be more adaptive. It makes sense. I'm going to miss having a physical copy, but we're going to pass before then, guys. Everyone who is committed to taking your test this year, if you will, text me and DM me on LinkedIn, and just let's be accountability partners for each other. Because once you say, yes, I'm going to do it, you kind of go, well, I got to do it. I can't back out. So let's do that for each other, okay? Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next week. We'll be doing chapter 5 again. Bye.
Good night, everybody.